Yeah. Good morning, guys. Good morning and welcome back. So today we'll discuss some important definitions for performance testing. So those concepts are important for scripting. Those basic definitions and all are important for scripting to understand scripting. So tomorrow also we'll be spending, like time on this same thing. Or I'll give an introduction to JMeter from the middle. Okay. So we'll have a 1 hour session today. So let's get started. Okay. So online we have only Santosh and the other one Jay Chandra. Wait, I will log the meeting. So after 10:15, they cannot join. No one can join. We have an option to log the meeting, right? So we have an option to log the meeting, guys. I'll log it after 10:15. Are you seeing that option online, folks? So once I log the meeting, no one else can join. Okay. So I'll do it after 10:15. Okay. So please join, so I have been requesting from past 1 week to join on time, right? So please join exactly by 10 or couple of minutes before. Online guys, what happened? This is not an early morning batch, right? This is not an early morning batch, isn't it? So still you are joining later. Huh? All right. So let's get started. We'll start with virtual user. So we discussed yesterday. Virtual user is a programmer and user that acts just like a real user would do when making request to a web or mobile application, right? So during a load test means if you want to do performance testing for any application, considerable number of virtual users can be run on one computer. From single machine, you can run up to 1,000 virtual users. 1,000 virtual users can be run from a single machine, from a single computer, right? Other, if you want to do manually, you have to engage 1,000 machines, isn't it? If you want to do load testing with 1,000 users, if you want without any tool, we need to engage 1,000 machines and 1,000 testers, right? But whereas, if you are doing a performance, if you are using a performance testing tool like LoadRunner or JMeter, so you can simulate, 1,000 to 2,000 users from a single machine, from any single machine, right? So, and that machine is called as load generator machine. That machine is called as load generator machine. The name itself implies the machine that is used to generate a load is called as load generator machine. Let me write it down in your class notes document.
टाइम मतलब वो तो कर है ना सीपीयू प्लस रैम अपग्रेड तो रैम भी वैसे भी 760
What is that? Load generator. What is meant by load generator? The machine or the computer machine or computer. Okay. Used to generate virtual user load. Generate virtual users. That is called as load generator machine. Okay. And then next pass it request. Next definition is pass it request. Pass it request means the number of successful requests that were sent to the tested server. The number of successful requests that were sent to the tested server since the last measurement of this parameter. And these measurements are done every second. This is actually number of successful requests per second. Means how many requests are we sending to the server per second? That is called as how many requests are passed, out of all the requests, how many requests are getting passed. What is meant by getting passed? Means we are getting some response, proper response from the server. Server is able to process the request and you got response. So those are called as passed request, right? And then time to first byte. Time to first byte. Now, what is this byte? What is meant by this byte? Yes. So data is measured in bits and bytes, right? When you send a request or when you receive a response, right? The data that you transfer, some data will be transferred from browser to server, right? For example, suppose if you are typing Amazon.in and hitting enter, some data will be, your request line and request headers and request body will be sent to the server, right? So that some data gets transferred over the network, isn't it? So that data is measured in terms of bits and bytes. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. 1 byte is equal to 8 bits, right? And then 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. Observe here that bits is represented with small letter, bytes is represented with capital letter. Bits is represented by small letter and byte is represented by capital letter. Okay. So 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes, isn't it? 1024 bytes. And next unit measurement is 1 MB. 1 MB is equal to 1024 kV, right? You should use capital letters, right? And then next unit of measurement is, this case, everyone knows this.
1 GB.
1 gigabyte is equal to 1024 MB, isn't it? 1024 MB. And then what is the next unit of measurement? Terabyte, TB. TB is equal to 1024 GB. Right? And then I think petabyte, that is the next unit of measurement, right? So now what is this TTFB, time to first byte? Time to first byte means the time between first byte of the user request and first byte of the server response is called as time to first byte. The time between first byte of the user request and the first byte of the server response. See, let's say, for example, I am sending a request to this server advantageonlineshopping.com, right? So I will not get the page immediately, right? I will not get the page. It will take some time to load the page. Our request should go to server. Server should send the response, and then we will receive a response, isn't it? Now, it will take some time to load the page, right? See, it is taking some time to load the page, isn't it? So the time between first byte of the user request and the first byte of server response, right, is called as time to first byte, TTFB, right? So data is measured in bits and bytes, usually in bytes, right? So the time between first byte of the user request and first byte of the server response is called as TTFB, time to first byte. Clear, everyone? And then time to last byte, the time between first byte of user request and last byte of server response is called as TTLB, time to last byte, right? And then response transfer time or receive time. Response transfer time or receive time means the time in seconds between first byte and last byte of the response arriving. See, let's say, for example, let me take the same application. So if you observe that, it took some, see, I'll go to that application, or else I'll go to apple.com website. Okay. I'm going to apple.com website. And we started receiving response now, right? It loaded fastly. 1 second. Let me use the same application. AdvantageOnlineShopping.com only. I'll use a private wind. This is a private browser, right? Yeah. I'm sending a request. And now we started receiving response. You see here, first you got the page title, and then you got this header. And then the page is loading slowly, isn't it? So the time between first byte of, the time between the first byte of, what is that? First byte and last byte of the response arriving is called as response transfer time or receive time. The time between first byte and last byte of the response arriving is called as response transfer time or receive time, right? So your server started responding here, sending the response, right? But it is taking some time to receive the complete page, isn't it? This is called as response transfer time or receive time. Clear, guys? And then page load time. Page load time means that time taken to load the page completely. The time taken to load the HTML content, images, JavaScript, CSS files, all those things, right? The time spent to download the complete page, including all HTML content, images, JavaScript, CSS files, and so on, is called as page load time, right? And when you use developer tools, if you remember, when we are using developer tools, we saw that page load time. Okay, let me show you that. Let me open developer tools, and I'm sending a request again, right? Now, if you observe here, you'll see that page load time somewhere over here, right? You see that page load time. See, load time is 1.7 seconds, right? Load time is 1.7 seconds. Finish time is 1.9 seconds approximately. 1.89 means almost 2 seconds, right? So response time is 2 seconds and load time is 1.7 seconds. Okay. It is taking 2 seconds to load the to receive the response from the server, out of which 1.7 seconds is taking for loading the page, loading the HTML content, images, JavaScript, and so on. And now not only that, developer tools will show you how much time it is taking to load each component. Observe here. It is showing each component loading time. See, this particular request, it took 883 milliseconds. It took highest time, isn't it? Or, if you have some JavaScript files, right? This JavaScript file took 94 milliseconds. This CSS file took almost, how much time it took? It took almost 61 milliseconds, right? So developer tools will show you the page component breakdown time. What is meant by page component breakdown? What are the web page components we already discussed? What are the different web page components, guys? HTML, CSS, JavaScript,
CSS,
these are called
JavaScript.
as web page components, right? Now your developer tools is showing, page component breakdown means suppose if a page is taking 2 seconds, right? Let me go to that browser one more time. See, it took 2 seconds to load this page, out of which are 2 seconds low. For example, this component took almost 1 second. Experience meta, it seems, isn't it? This took almost 1 second. Yes or no? 883 milliseconds and almost close to 1 second, right? Remaining other components are taking in milliseconds, time in milliseconds. Now your developer tools is showing the page component breakdown. Yes or no? Page component breakdown means how much time it is taking to load each component. Yes or no? If any web page will have HTML content, CSS, JavaScript, etc., etc. So now this developer tools is showing how much time each component is taking. Yes or no? Right? Not only that, it is showing the size of each component. Yes or no? See, this CSS file size is 18.5 KB and this image is 40 KB. So it is showing the size of each component also, right? See, this seems to be highest 952 bytes. Yes or no? No, sorry, kilobytes lo unnai. Konni few are in kilobytes. Which one is highest? So around 68.4 KB. This seems to be highest, right? That is not important, but developer tools is showing the size of each component, loading time of each component. Yes or no? Response time of each component or page component breakdown, isn't it? And did we discuss about this initiator column? What is this initiator? Why is it called as initiator? Huh?
Yes.
We had already discussed, right?
Yes.
What is initiator? Okay. Shall I move to the next slide then? I'll move to the next slide. And then this is important one. Response time is important. Right? Response time is also called as round trip time. Response time is also called as round trip time. Why is it called as round trip time? Why is response time called as round trip time? Simple, guys. So you are sending a request. Your request goes from browser to server, and response comes from server to browser. So round trip. So it is round trip, two-way trip, browser to server and then server to browser. So response time is also called as round trip time. Now, what is meant by response time? What is the definition of response time? Right? Response time is the amount of time from the moment user sends a request until the time the application indicates that request has been completed. Right? Slightly complex, right? Take this definition. Response time is the total time it takes from the moment user sends a request until they receive a response. This is easy to understand, right? Response time is the total time it takes from the moment user sends a request until they receive a response, right? Note down this definition. So if those who are taking running notes, right, note down the color highlighted one. Okay. You need not write everything, but note down the color highlighted one. The highlighted one, the line which is highlighted in a different color. Okay. And response time is important in performance testing because it represents how long a user must wait for the request to be processed by an application. The first and foremost, this is one of the common
Pawan,
interview question. And the
ఒక్కసారి
response
పాయింట్
time.
మళ్ళీ రిపీట్ చేయగలుగుతారా?
What is that?
Just can you repeat about the point again? Response time, point, round trip, and all this.
Response time is the total time it takes from the moment user sends a request until they receive a response. See, in this example, 2 seconds is the response time. We had discussed here, right? See, 1.89 seconds is the response time of this page, apple.com homepage, right? Because it took 2 seconds to load the page. That from the moment we send the request, it took 2 seconds to get the page, right? So that is the response time of this page. So here is the response time, finish time. You see something called finish time, right? That is the response time of this page. Clear, guys? So response time is the time spent from the moment we send the request, user sends a request, until they receive a response from the server. Clear? And response time is very important in performance testing. So transaction response time, this is one of what is meant by transaction response time. This is one of the important interview question. It will be asked in the first five questions. Okay, in any interview, right? Now, what does a response time consist of? Before that, what is a transaction? Let me explain what is a transaction. What is meant by a transaction? Transaction means any single user action which involves sending some request to the server is called as a transaction. What is a transaction? Note down this, please. Right? Any single user action which involves sending some request to the server is called as a transaction. Okay. Any single user action which involves sending some request to the server is called as a transaction. Right? Now let us understand, practically what is a transaction. Let's say, for example, you are typing, I'll take another, let me close this. Let's say, for example, I'm going to flipkart.com. I'm sending a request to Flipkart. So I'm doing a transaction. See, because it involves sending some request to the server. Some request went to the server and we got some response from the server. So we did one transaction here. What transaction is that? Homepage transaction. We went to homepage of flipkart.com, isn't it? Or, suppose you click on, mobiles. Again, some request is going to the server. How do we know whether a request goes to the server or not? Whether a request is going to the server or not when you do a click? See, for example, if you just put your cursor there, we got some, we got this, we got home and furniture, different items under home and furniture. Now, did a request go to the server here? Suppose if I click on okay, I'll go to home page. See, suppose I click on mobiles. If I click on mobiles, right? Any request goes to the server? No?
Yes.
No.
See the URL is flipkart.com. Now, once I click on mobiles, see there is a change in the URL. That is one way to identify. Otherwise, there is another way. You can use developer tools. If you want to see how many requests are going to the server, simply open developer tools. Open developer tools and click on mobiles and see how many requests are going to the server. There are hundreds of requests, isn't it? Actually, there are hundreds of requests going to the server. So any user action which involves sending some request is called as a transaction. So here, when you click on mobiles, one request went to the server. But when you put your cursor there, no request goes to the server actually. A request may not go to the server. This will be, then how do we get all these? How do we get all these details? All those home and furniture items, how do we get that? Maybe some JavaScript. There may be some, all those might be written in a JavaScript file. Okay. So let us see that, let's do one thing. So I'll open developer tools again and I'll put the cursor over there. See, no request is going to the server, right? Developer tools is not showing anything, yes or no? But when you click on any particular request, then a request goes. For example, if you click on furnishing, now a request is there are a lot of requests going to the server. So that is called as a transaction. Understood? But putting your cursor on that or scrolling down, these are not transactions. Understood, guys? When you scroll down, usually no request goes to the server. But if any request is going, then it can be considered as a transaction. Or else, for example, you take Amazon. Okay. So you take Amazon. So and hit enter. You type Amazon and hit enter. Once some request goes to the server and you got some response. Now, if you click on these mobiles or electronics or home and kitchen, definitely some request goes to the server. You can see change in the URL as well as you can see in the developer tools. But what if you are clicking on this drop down? If you click on this drop down, does any request go to the server? Need not be, right? That can be loaded on the browser itself, on the browser side. Or if you scroll down, for example, if you scroll down also, no request may be going to the server, isn't it? So now you understood which action is called as a transaction and which one is not called as a transaction. You should be clear on this, guys. What is a transaction? Transaction means any single user action which involves sending some request to the server is called as a transaction. Okay. In performance testing terminology, transaction has many meanings in different context. The meaning varies from context to context, right? So yesterday one stupid called me, not students, guys. A stupid called me and saying that someone has did some. I used dark web and did some illegal transaction. It seems. I did not go to dark web website. I don't know what that is. I know I heard that word, but I never used it. Right? You are hearing a lot of these incidents nowadays, right? They were threatening people and they are doing a lot of scams, cyber crimes. And he called me and saying that, we got a report saying that, this number, some cyber crime happened from this number on dark web. If you want to know more details, call me. I called them. 9 other click cheyamanadu and number is +98. The number started from +98. Okay. So +98 is Iran number. And he started saying that, did you use any dark web anytime? I said, what is dark web? I asked, what is dark web? He's saying sir, dark web is some website where, it is used for, selling drugs or, human trafficking, etc., etc. Right? I said, I did not use to dark web anytime. I did not open that browser also anytime. I don't know. I heard that time only. That's it. I don't know. So then I said, what should I do now? I know that is fraud. I know that is fraud. And he's saying that, one complaint was filed on you on Hyderabad cybercrime police station, it seems. I said, arey stupid, if complaint is filed on Hyderabad police station, why are you calling from Iran? When I see the country code, I am in front of my system. +98 country code search chesam. When I searched for +98, which country code is that? It showed as Iran, right? So Hyderabad crime jarite Iran lo complaint cheyadam, right? Then he said, if you did, then are you sure that, maybe someone used your number and other? Oh, it's not my problem. I said, it's not. Then what should I do, Anna? What should I do? Ante koncham amayakanga maatladite, they will say, do you want to save yourself? Otherwise, you will be arrested and Japan. They will threaten and they are squeezing as much money as possible, robbing as much money as possible. And I heard a lot of incidents that one software employee who was working as a manager in Deloitte, she was cheated for 18 lakhs. It seems 18 lakhs. And recently another big scam happened, and that guy was a retired principal of an engineering college. It seems he was cheated for 8 crores. Okay, so be careful if you get any number from +98 or +92. +92 is Pakistan. Last month, my sister got a call, my family got, everyone might have got a call. Okay. So my sister got a call and, my brother-in-law got a call and he was saying that, so he made a WhatsApp call, it seems. WhatsApp call and police uniform lo unnadu and TP. Okay. So and he was saying that, your daughter is Saujanya, your daughter ante, yes, ma baga konచెం tension ఎక్కువ. అసలు భయస్తా. Yeah, ఏమైంది అన్నాడు. అంటే your daughter was actually my niece అంటారు కదా మేనా, right? So my sister's daughter, she was working in Intel as a intern, right? She completed her MTech and she is working in Intel as for doing her internship, right? So someone called with police uniform and WhatsApp call jesi, he was telling that your daughter was arrested in a gold scam. Okay. So your daughter and some friends, her friends, it seems. Okay. And he was saying that, your daughter told that you are a principal in a college. So, I don't want to file a case on you, on her. That's why I want to, do you want you to save your daughter? And Chala is speaking with so commanding it seems. చాలా కమాండింగ్ గా మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు వాయిస్. అండ్ లైక్ సో ఏం చేయమంటారు అని చెప్పారంటే 2 lakhs ట్రాన్స్ఫర్ చేయాలంట. ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు సేవ్ యువర్ డాటర్, డూ యూ వాంట్ టు సేవ్ యువర్ డాటర్ ఆర్ నాట్, డూ యూ వాంట్ టు సేవ్ యువర్ డాటర్ ఆర్ నాట్ అంట. ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఎవరైనా ఎస్ ఐ వాంట్. ఈ లోపు మై సిస్టర్ ట్రై టు రీచ్ హర్ డాటర్ మీన్ వై. ఇంకో ఫోన్ నుంచి షీ ట్రై టు కాంటాక్ట్ అండ్ అది ఫోన్ ఎంగేజ్ వస్తుంది. అండ్ లైక్ వీడు ఇంకా మాట్లాడుతాను అన్నాడు, డూ వాంట్ టు సేవ్ యువర్ డాటర్, డూ యూ వాంట్ టు సీ యువర్ డాటర్ అంటున్నాడు. స్పీకర్ ఆన్ చేసి లైక్ ఎవరో మాటలు వినిపిస్తున్నాడు, ఏడుస్తున్నారండి ఎవరో పక్కన. సమ్మన్ ఈస్ క్రైయింగ్ అండ్ హీఈస్ మేకింగ్ హియర్ అంటే పక్కన సెటప్ అంతా ఉంది. దే హ్యావ్ ఫుల్ సెటప్ అంతా రెడీగా ఉన్నాడు, రైట్. అండ్ లైక్ మాట్లాడించమంటే నో వీ కెనాట్ అలౌ టు టాక్ అని చెప్పని, డూ వాంట్ టు సేవ్ యువర్ డాటర్ అన్నట్టు, డూ వాంట్ టు సేవ్ యువర్ డాటర్ అన్నట్టు. అంటే ఇప్పుడు 2 lakhs ఎక్కడి నుంచి తెస్తావు అని చెప్పని అన్నారు. అంటే ఈ లోపేమో దేవర్ రియల్లీ టెన్స్డ్. అంటే ఎక్కడో ఉన్నది. రీసెంట్లీ దే జాయిన్డ్ ఇన్ బెంగళూరు పీజీ ఇట్ సిన్స్, right. And they were already అంటే కొంచెం they are having some fear that like first time she joined in an unknown city అని చెప్పాను, right. and my sister dropped a message it seems, urgent గా కాల్ కట్ చేసి అంటే she called back and my niece called and ఏమైందమ్మా అంటే she was saying that someone called to your father and he's saying that you are arrested in some scam అంట. అంటే వాడి బాగుందా, నేను హాస్టల్లో ఉన్నా నేను. అండ్ లైక్ వీడియో ఆన్ చేసి వాడు హీ షోయింగ్ హిమ్సెల్ఫ్, అంటే వెనకాల పోలీస్ స్టేషన్ సెటప్ అంతా ఉందంట. హీ వాజ్ ఇన్ పోలీస్ యూనిఫామ్, రైట్. సో అండ్ ఐల్ షో దట్ కాన్వర్సేషన్. సో బీ కేర్ఫుల్ అండ్ like forward this information to, I have some recordings also, forward this information. Lot of people are getting cheated and చాలా మంది బయటికి చెప్పుకోరు, పరువు పోద్దండి. డబ్బులు పోయినా సరే మళ్ళీ పరువు ఎందుకు పోగొట్టుకోవడం అని చెప్పుకోరు బయట. ఓకే, సో బీ కేర్ఫుల్ అండ్ ఇన్ఫార్మ్. ఆల్రెడీ దట్ ఈస్ కమింగ్ ఇన్ న్యూస్ అండ్ like FM లో వస్తుంది, న్యూస్ లో వస్తుంది, బట్ స్టిల్ బీ కేర్ఫుల్. Okay, yesterday I did not notice the phone number. I know that there are some fraud calls happening, but I did not notice the phone number. Okay, sir, call record చేసి I recorded the కాల్ రికార్డ్ చేద్దాము, వినిపిద్దాం అని చెప్పని రికార్డెడ్ ద కాల్. నేను దాంట్లో ఉన్నాను. సో వాడు ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు జాయిన్ ద మీటింగ్ రికార్డ్ చేద్దాం ఒకసారి, యూట్యూబ్ ఛానల్లో పెడితే మంచి హిట్స్ వస్తాయి అనుకున్నాను. ఓకే, యూ ఆర్ సేయింగ్ దట్ like యువర్ ఆధార్ కార్డ్ అండ్ యువర్ ఫోన్ నెంబర్, వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ ఫుల్ నేమ్ అంటున్నాడు. నా ఫోన్ నెంబర్ తెలిసినప్పుడు ఫుల్ నేమ్ తెలియదు. అండ్ వన్ మోర్ థింగ్, దట్ గై హూ కాల్డ్ మై బ్రదర్ ఇన్ లా, he got daughters, my brother-in-law's name, profession, and then his daughter's name and phone number also. We don't know from where this information they are gathering that information. Maybe they are gathering the information from the Airtel or this Vodafone, or somewhere they are getting data, they are collecting data and they are using that data, రైట్. సో 2 lakhs ఇప్పుడు లేవని అన్నారంట. అర్థమైంది, ఈ లోపు అర్థమైన తర్వాత 2 lakhs ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కడి నుంచి తెస్తామంటే 50,000 చెయ్యన్నాడు. 50 కూడా లేవంటే 5,000 చెయ్యమంటాడేమో నెక్స్ట్. ఓకే, దెన్ దే డిస్కనెక్టెడ్ ద కాల్ and I'll show you that they had forwarded me that like that person's number and phone number and photo. Disconnect, we'll finish this and then I'll show them another interesting story. Okay, and then next one is think time. Next definition is think time. What is think time? Think time is the time that a real user waits between actions. Think time is the time that a real user waits between the actions. Suppose you go to any e-commerce application or any net banking application, right? Let's say, for example, you want to purchase a product and you went to Amazon, right? And now once you go there, let's say you want to search for some product, right? You search for some product and then you will spend some time on this page, right? Before you do the next transaction. With next transaction, you will spend some time before you do the next transaction. Yes or no? Like you'll take some time to decide like which model you want to buy or what is the storage capacity you want to buy and which color you want to buy, isn't it? And then you will select something. You'll select some product, right? Again, once you go to that product page, again you'll spend some time before you do the next transaction, isn't it? Either you add to cart or you change some option, you storage option. You will spend some time between each transaction, right? That is called as think time. The time that a real user waits between actions or between transactions is called as think time, right? Example, when a user receives a response from a server, the user may wait several seconds to review the data before responding and doing the next action or transaction, right? And that time is time delay. That time delay is called as think time, right? Think time is the delay between each transaction. Think time is the delay between each transaction. Very important concept in performance testing. Think time is the delay between time delay between each transaction. Okay, what is a transaction? What is meant by transaction? Any user action which involves sending some request, or which involves sending some request to the server, right? That is called as a transaction, right? And now next definition is iteration. Next definition is iteration or iteration. Iteration means a set of user actions is called as an iteration. Set of user actions. What is the meaning of that? For example, if you want to do some fund transfer, yesterday we discussed it, right? If you want to do some fund transfer, right? So it involves some transactions, right? It involves some transactions, right? You go to home page and then log into your account and then go to fund transfer page, select beneficiaries, select NEFT or RTGS, IMBS, and then submit the fund transfer request, right? You enter OTP. OTP is very common, right? Enter OTP and submit fund transfer request. So this is called as one iteration. This is called as one iteration. Okay. Now suppose, on the similar lines, can you list out all the transactions for placing an order on Amazon? Placing an order on Amazon. Can you list down all the transactions in that Amazon or Flipkart? Yes. What are the steps? What are the transactions involved here? Or what are the steps involved? Go to home page first. Go to home page first and then log in. Search a product. First you will search for that product, right? Search a product, right? Select product, right? Add to cart. Payment and checkout, right? You make the payment and checkout, isn't it? That's it. And then you log out of the application, right? So this is one iteration. From home page to logout, this is one iteration. Logout, we missed logout here, isn't it? Right? So in this case, from this home page to in this fund transfer case, from home page to logout, this is one iteration. Clear, guys? What is meant by an iteration or iteration? Set of user actions is called as iteration, right? And then pacing. Pacing is delay between each iteration. We'll discuss pacing later on. Not important at this moment. I will move to the next slide if you don't have any queries. Or I'll take a pause here. Any queries?
So difference between page load time and response time. I mean, like page load time will also consider the page rendering.
Right. Okay. Good question. Who is this? Madhav?
Yes.
Madhav. Yeah. Good question. So what is the difference between response time and page load time? So response time means the time taken to receive the response from the server, complete response from the server. Load time means I will tell you. So suppose you are sending a request to Amazon or Flipkart, right? So and you are getting some images, some HTML content, CSS, JavaScript. All these content will come in a compressed format. We already discussed that. When we discussed about response headers, request headers, response headers, we discussed it. You remember that? The response comes in a compressed format, means zip file, in the form of a zip file. And now once browser receives, it will extract that compressed format, and it has to arrange the components, right? See, for example, Amazon logo should be loaded on the top left. Cart symbol should be loaded on the top right. The search box should be loaded in the top center, right? So your browser has to render the components. It has to arrange the components, right? That is called as rendering time or load time. That is called as page rendering time. That is also called as page rendering. What is meant by rendering? Page rendering. Let me write down here. Page rendering. Right? Time taken to arrange different components, different page components, web page components, or components of a web page. Components of a web page. Right? That is called as page rendering time. Right? Or this is also called as load time. Is called as page rendering time. Rendering time or page load time. Right? The time taken to see if someone asks page load time, time taken to receive all those components and load them, of course, then load them also. That is also called as load time or page rendering time. Right? And response time means total time for your server to respond also. There, like response time involves your processing time on the web server, app server, DB server. That also will be involved in response time. All right. We'll see that, we'll see that soon. I'll go to that slide. Transaction response time. There should be one more slide. Transaction response time in detail. So transaction response time is the sum of, yeah, here it is, guys. Sorry. Let me erase this. Transaction response time means it, we discussed yesterday, last week we discussed that, any application consists of web server, app server, DB server, right? And when you send a request, when any user sends a request from the browser, it will be sent to the web server first, isn't it? It will be sent for the web server. If it is a request for a static page, your web server will directly serve the request. But if it is a request for a dynamic page, if it has to fetch some data, your request will go to app server and then database server, and then from DB server, your response will come to app server to web server to browser. Right? So response time consists of processing time on the web server, processing time on the app server, and processing time on the database server, plus network latency between the servers and the client. Right? Your response time consists of processing time on the web server, app server, DB server, and time spent in the network. The request will be spending some time in the network, right? Suppose you are in a slow connection or internet is not good. It will obviously spend more time, isn't it? In the network, right? So the times, what is meant by network latency? There is another definition called network latency. Network latency means delay in the network is called as network latency. Network latency, another important definition. Time spent in the network or delay in the network. Time spent or delay in the network is called as network latency. So your response time consists of processing time on the web server, processing time on the app server, processing time on the database server, and then network latency. Right? Is it clear so far? Your transaction response time consists of time spent on the web server, app server, database server, and time spent in the network also. Right? Suppose you ordered food on Swiggy or Zomato, right? All of you might have ordered a lot of times, right? A lot of junk food and lot of junk food or healthy food. Okay, so it doesn't. Okay, let us keep it aside. So you ordered some food on Zomato or Swiggy app, right? And the delivery time will be sum of here food preparation time taken to prepare the food, plus delivery time spent by the delivery person in the traffic, right? So your delivery time will be the sum of food preparation time plus time spent in the traffic, isn't it? So similarly, your response time consists of processing time on the servers plus network latency. Processing time on all the servers plus network latency. Clear, guys? So here it is. Response time of a request is equal to request processing time plus network latency. This is something similar to your food delivery time, which is sum of food preparation time plus travel time of the delivery person. Clear? Okay. And remember this example so that if someone asks what is response time, you can tell, like you can tell in detail, right? So so this is about transaction response time. So again, if you are taking running notes, note down only like that brown color highlighted one. Okay, color coded lines only are important. If you want to take the example also, you can take this example as well. We'll do one thing. I'll highlight. Let me highlight this one also. I'll take a pause here. Any queries?
So page load time is the sum of response time plus page rendering, or it is
No. Page load time is the time taken to load the components. That's it.
after receiving the response.
Before that, yeah, after receiving the response, it will take some time. Browser will take some time to load the page.
Okay. Yeah, got you.
Okay, I think we can add that. So basically, why I did not add that browser rendering time here is when you are doing when you are using web protocol, that will not be measured. That page load time will not be measured actually. Okay, we'll discuss this actually. This note, we'll discuss this note later on. It's a bit early to discuss this. We'll discuss this statement later on. Okay, so I'll take a pause here. Any other queries, guys? And we have some more definitions called throughput, client-side metrics, and this is done. Little's law we can discuss later. KPIs also we can discuss later. These concepts also we can discuss later, but we need to discuss authentication and authorization before we start scripting. So one more session. Maybe I require half session. Maybe tomorrow I'll continue this. Okay. And before that, let me try to today I'll complete throughput and client-side metrics. At least I'll try to complete throughput. After transaction response time, next important metric we want to measure is throughput. What is that? Network throughput. What is meant by throughput? So throughput is the sum of bytes sent plus byte received. Throughput is sum of bytes sent plus byte received. Byte sent means nothing but request size. When you send a request, that request will also have some size, right? When you send a request, what does a request contain? Gracie, what does a request contain? Request structure, HTTP request structure. Don't refer to the notes. Sirisha? Huh? Go through the recorded sessions, man. These are important concepts. These are important concepts, and it's not so easy to get a job nowadays. Please remember this. Okay. It's not so easy to get a job. Remember that. Why are we spending this much time on fundamentals? These are all, if you understand these, then only you'll be able to understand scripting. Wait, online folks are disconnecting. Let me ask online guys. Yeah, what does the request contain, Santosh?
Hello?
Santosh.
Yeah, Pawan. So whenever we are sending a request to the server is again getting back to the response.
I didn't ask that. Yeah, that is correct, but I didn't ask that. That is not my question. What is the request structure? Can you explain request structure?
I don't have that clarity.
Okay. Bhavya?
Request body and request headers.
Request headers and request body. That's it. There is one more, right? There are three parts of a request or response, right? Your HTTP request structure or response structure consists of three parts. You missed the first one. Request headers is second one and request body is third one. But before that, you missed the first one. Request line. Request line, right? Request line, request headers, request body. So when you send a request, right? So it consists of request line, request headers, request. Let me go to that slide once. Guys, I had shared this training material also to you, right? Did I share this or no? Those who did not receive it, please ask me.
Yeah, Pavan, I did not receive.
Who is this? Who is this?
Jai Chandra.
Jai Chandra. Yeah. You confirmed yesterday only, right? I'll share it today.
Okay. Just
So,
please add in the WhatsApp group also.
sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'll send the invite, you can join that. So, did I share this, performance testing fundamentals notes? Please go through that, guys. Or you want me to provide, printed notes? Offline, guys, I can provide printed note material if you want. The problem with that is, printed notes is the circulate అయిపోద్ది. That is why we are, I am hesitating. That will be immediately available in the Amirpet Xerox centers. Okay. And, straight to the point, my notes will be very straight to the point. Right? You will not have, you cannot see, any other notes clear and crisp to the point. That is my worry, but still, if you HTTP request structure, we'll discuss it later. So what does your request structure consist of? Your request structure consists of request line, request headers, and request body, right? Similarly, your response also consists of three parts: status line, response headers, response body. Guys, particularly for freshers, these are very, very important, right? So experience వాళ్ళకే చెప్తున్నారు important questions అనుకుంటున్నారేమో. These are important for freshers as well. Gracie, Sirisha, you have to, you need to focus more and you need to go through the recorded sessions. Do you have the playlist URL? You need to complete this by this weekend. Okay. You need to refresh all these concepts and, you need to complete this by this weekend. Then only you can understand scripting, right? And Sirisha, you already paid the fees, isn't it? And Savani also, almost everyone paid the fees. I will not return the fees. Once we start scripting, if you say that, I cannot understand, of course, if I did not share the material, I will refund it. I will refund part fees. But once after attending one or 2 months, if you ask for a refund, I cannot refund even a single rupee. Please remember that. I have been telling this from more than 2 weeks, that those who are serious to learn only continue here. Right? So go through this, do everyone have this playlist URL of your batch? Does everyone have this playlist URL, this October 2024 batch playlist URL? Market is very, very good. After US elections, I am seeing a lot of openings in LinkedIn and Naukri. That election hangover is over, and as Trump got selected, he's in favor of IT companies. He reduces the corporate tax and all. So companies are recruiting. They started recruitment in a full swing. You need to utilize this opportunity. By January, market will be completely fully open, right? So you should be prepared by that time. And this is the right time. Actually, from the last 1 year, it is recruitment market is very slow. Job market is very slow. And many people lost hopes and they went to hometown, right? They went to hometown and they're doing time pass, right? But, those who are in right track now, so it is a golden opportunity for you. Really a golden opportunity for you. Okay. So the same thing happened during COVID time also. COVID time lo anni institutes close అయిపోయినాయి. For 1 year, there is no recruitment. But immediately after that, once recruitment is started, right? Those who are in preparation, they got wonderful jobs and wonderful packages because there is huge resource shortage. COVID time, most of the people left to their hometown. Yes or no? They left it. They left all the hopes and, wonderful guy, Jagananna volunteer job join ayyar kontamandi 5,000 ki BTech chadivi. And then those who are in the market, those who are trying in IT, they got wonderful packages, excellent packages, very easily. Because, because of resource scarcity, right? Similar thing will happen in Jan or in the next next 3-4 months. The same thing happens in the next 3-4 months. Okay. After US election overhang is done, I'm seeing a lot of openings in LinkedIn and Naukri. Yesterday, I have shown you how many Naukri alerts we got, right? Yes or no? See, I did not see these many number of openings anytime, guys. not this email, but the last one. I didn't see these many number of openings anytime in the last 1 year. So utilize this opportunity. I saw I had shown you around 15 to 20 openings, right? On a single day, isn't it? So utilize that opportunity. And today morning itself, every day I'm posting around 5 to 10 openings on my Insta page also. Okay. You will not get these many openings, all these openings, because those are from my connections, my LinkedIn connections. I am having around 3,000 to 4,000 LinkedIn connections. So obviously I will get more number of openings. I will see more number of openings on my LinkedIn page, right? I am sharing those for your benefit. Let me show you my LinkedIn profile and how many connections and how many friends are there, right? So where can we see that connections, number of connections? Anyone? Profile 544 one profile views, and how many? Where can I see those connections? See, 4167 followers, and where 500 plus connections, right? I'm having actually 3,000 or 4,000, yeah, 4,135 connections, right? So obviously I'll get a lot of openings, and I'm sharing all those on my Insta page, and related to testing, mostly related to testing, and 5 years, up to 5 years I'm posting it here. I'm not posting 15 years or 20 years, openings for 15 or 20 years, of course, right? So you are actually at this is a golden opportunity for you. Please understand that. And but if you are like this, like, it will not be helpful. If you cannot answer, if you don't have clarity on fundamental concepts, it's very difficult to get a job as fresher also. Okay. So throughput is sum of bytes and plus byte received. When you send a request, right? Request will have some size, right? Your request line, request headers, request body will have some size, right? So that is request size, or that is sum of bytes sent plus bytes received. Byte received is nothing but response size. How much response you received from the server. So sum of both of these is called as throughput. Throughput means how much data is transferred over the network. How much data is transferred over the network, right? That is throughput. It shows how much data is flowing back and forth from your servers. Throughput shows how much data is flowing back and forth from your servers, from browser to server and server to browser. Clear, guys? So, and it is measured in kilobytes per second. Measured in kilobytes per second, right? So this is all about throughput. I'll stop it here for today. We'll continue tomorrow. But guys, please go through the recorded sessions one more time. Okay. Otherwise, there is no point in uploading the recorded sessions. I will not share recorded sessions if you are not watching them. And please come by, I am coming here by 9:30. So please come a bit early. Why are you coming late? I don't understand why are you coming late. This is not a college, or for 5 or 6 hours college, 10 minutes later out. Are you doing any part-time job? Are you doing any part-time job? So please be on time. Okay, I'll stop it here for today. And let me explain that that someone tried to cheat me on Google Pay or Phone Pay. I don't remember their name actually, but I made a video, and but YouTube has deleted it. I don't know, for some reason. YouTube has deleted it because some mobile numbers are displayed over there. So some student inquired me asking for a card, pinged me on WhatsApp, pretending as an inquiry. Inquiry JC 15,000. I told fee structure. I told the fee structure. Then they told I'm sending for 5,000 as advance. I'll pay the remaining fees next month. Okay, I was surprised. Then in the fast fees payment chestanu. Okay, I thought okay, ila kuda untaremo anukoni. Sare ani cheppani, I shared the number. Then immediately I received a message. I received a a message saying that 15,000 vachinadu. I got a message, screenshot. They shared a screenshot that they transferred 15,000 by mistake. And immediately that person started, pinging me, can you, by mistake, I transferred 15,000. I need to pay hospital bill here. Can you please refund 10,000? Can you please return that 10,000 extra 10,000? Else pay it later. You understood? 5,000 transfer చేస్తానని చెప్పి 15,000 transfer చేసినట్టు స్క్రీన్ షాట్ పంపించారు. And they are asking me to return 10,000 and saying that, like I am saying, no, I did not receive the amount. I just saw your screenshot, but I did not receive the amount. And they are saying like maybe some technical issue అయి ఉంటది, గూగుల్ పేలో ఫోన్ పేలో సమ్ ఇష్యూ అయి ఉంటది, నేను హాస్పిటల్లో ఉన్నాను, అర్జెంట్లీ ఐ హావ్ టు పే హాస్పిటల్ బిల్ అర్జెంట్లీ అని చెప్పని in 1 minute, in a span of 1 minute, they have sent 16 messages. అంటే that that like నన్ను ప్రెషర్ లో పెట్టడానికి like they are మెసేజెస్ వస్తున్నాయి. టైప్ చేస్తే అంత ఫాస్ట్ గా చేయలేదు. దట్ ఈస్ కాపీ పేస్ట్. ఐ క్లియర్లీ అండర్స్టూడ్ దట్ ఈస్ కాపీ పేస్ట్. దెన్ ఐ లాగ్డ్ ఇన్ టు మై బ్యాంక్ అకౌంట్ అండ్ ఐ చెక్ దట్ సింగిల్ రూపీ కూడా రాలేదు. దెన్ ఐ వెంట్ టు గూగుల్ పే. ఐ థింక్ దే ట్రైడ్ ఆన్ గూగుల్ పే అండ్ ఐ వెంట్ టు మై గూగుల్ పే అండ్ సర్చ్ ఇట్ దే. గూగుల్ పే ఆల్సో ఐ డి నాట్ రిసీవ్ ఎనీ అమౌంట్. దెన్ ఐ ఓపెన్ దట్ స్క్రీన్ షాట్. Actually, that is a typed message. So when you send some message amount, right, paid ani some kinda amount వస్తుంది, right? Message type చేసి they sent it and they are asking me to refund 10,000. Right? Then I also typed the same message and returned 10,000. Enjoy and Japan, I sent 10,000. I typed the same message and I sent 10,000. So then I observed that like if it is a real transaction, if you open in Google, let me search for any recent screenshots. Let me pause recording. Okay.